King that ticked him off, so he put up that Charles Johnson was a pedophile, and not only said it, but put up a police report that said Charles Johnson, with I think the birth date was like a year off, that this was his police report, that he was a pedophile. And, I mean, you can call people a lot of things, but there's some things that, you know, I mean, even racist, whatever, but to call a man a pedophile will stick forever. So I started looking into him, and all I could find were good things, like hundreds of blogs about how great he was. He was on CNN. He was a philanthropist. You know, all these great things. We'll come to find out later, he had a good publicist that was doing all this. Anything to corroborate that. It was months later that Daily Caller got the police report that proved Sean was lying, that he wasn't beat up by 14 rednecks. So this just got me to looking into Hope Mob, into his Twitch change, into all these charities, the worst being a home in Haiti, which he was doing while he was the pastor at his church. I just kept looking and looking, and I was putting it on Twitter, and I would put something on Twitter, I would get suspended. And it wasn't until like May that I thought, there has to be something I can prove to show that he is not credible.
Suspended from Twitter. What was happening? So presumably you were just reporting on facts. Why were you getting suspended from a social network?
I believe because Sean had been in business with Claire Ortiz, who was the she worked for Twitter. I'm not sure if she's still with them now. She was at the time. But my opinion only was that he was probably asking her to suspend me. You know, I don't know. It was just after I would go on Twitter and put up my blog and say, you know, this is what's happening with him, I would get suspended.
So let's move on to the race thing.
Okay, so the race thing only came up in June, in like May and June, probably. I mean, I'd always thought about it, but there was really, because his entire family is white. You know, all the Facebook, the extended family, everyone's white. And so I thought, this is just the one thing. If I can just prove this, then his credibility will certainly be ruined, right? You would think.
You would imagine.
We both know now that that's not true.
What happened in the end?
No, you get a job at New York Daily News. So that's what happened. And then I and some other people behind the scenes, because I don't ever let anything out until I'm pretty sure about it. And we started looking into, so what a friend of mine got, he's actually a detective that didn't want his name mentioned, actually got the birth certificate in the first place. And he sent it to me, and then I thought about it. And then I think that's when you and I started talking.
Right.
And I was being hasty and said, well, I'm going to just put it up since you haven't put it up yet, but you were going through making sure the legal aspects were all correct. So that's what happened. That's when you and I started talking. I was the only one that had the birth certificate, and then we started talking about it. And you said, can you prove 100%? And I said, yes, I can. And that's how it got started.
And what his defense was?
I believe his very first tweet was, Vicky Pate is a racist. And he gave me a lot of great publicity because he put in my, he listed my website, and I got like 40,000 hits in an hour. And he just said it was due to right-wing nut jobs, racist, and we kind of knew that the only out he had was to say his mother had an affair with a black man. I mean, that's the only thing he could say, because we had the proof. I mean, the day I found his dad's mugshot, he looks just like Sean. I mean, they look alike, and then you have to wonder, why would his mother have an affair with a black man and still name her son after the white father? I mean,
right.
That doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? I do want to make one thing clear. If you read my blogs about Shaun King, I don't think you will find anywhere, unless it's a reference to Black Lives Matter, that I've ever gone. This has never been about Black Lives Matter, because for one thing, he's not black, but it's never been about that. It's been about Shaun King. And, you know, the main thing, the worst thing that I think he's ever done is steal from $250,000, in my opinion, based on my research, from an orphanage in Haiti. You know, and So it's never been about Black Lives Matter, and people keep saying, oh, they want to shut down Black Lives Matter. Well, they're going to shut themselves down. I'm not concerned with them.